On Mondays, most Mondays, if not every single Monday, I like to do something I call overreaction versus reality. That is separating out the over-the-top reactions among fans, media, players, coaches, everybody that gets over their skis. And then my reality of what I think is somewhere that's got some perspective. You can feel free to agree to disagree, argue all you would like. I'm fine with that. Reality. The only team more impressive in their first half, more impressive than Texas in their beatdown of Michigan in the first half, would have been Dallas in their first half beatdown of the Cleveland Browns. The two of them could not have had better starts on the road. You couldn't script it out any better. They took the life out of their opponent within the first 20 minutes of their games. It's the truth. I don't know. You could have played any better, had things gone any better for, I would say, Texas. Then I watched the Dallas game, and they had the exact same, it looked like the exact same kind of game all over again. Quinn Ewers was rock solid. Dak Prescott was rock solid and very, very rich, by the way. They were both smart. They didn't own the game, but they did all they could to make the game better. Texas was ridiculous on third down conversions. There's no way you're ever going to lose when you convert 9 of 12 on third down. Michigan couldn't get off the field. I mean, they were gassed within 25 minutes, and that's a good defense. They just couldn't get off the field against Texas. Texas is I'm cautious about saying this because I said the same thing about Notre Dame, but I feel a little bit better about this one. Texas is in the 12-team playoff. Almost, they would have to completely fall on their face and lose 3. There is a quirky twist to that, though. There's something to think about that's just weird and screwed up, and it's not their fault, but they're in the playoff. Your Dallas Cowboys, wow. They could not have started the season any better. Did the Dak Prescott brand new contract before kickoff, hours before kickoff, give them a boost? Maybe a little. But they made sure, here's the funny thing about Dak Prescott's now the richest player in the game. Dallas made sure that the Browns and the fans of the Cleveland Browns who didn't miss a chance to boo their Cleveland Browns, Dallas made sure the Browns knew that Deshaun Watson, the quarterback of the Browns, at least for a little while, the Cowboys made sure that everyone following Cleveland knew that the $220 million guaranteed contract for Deshaun Watson will go down as the dumbest deal of all time. Dallas destroyed him. The Dallas defense and Brandon Aubrey, their kicker, were ridiculous. It was just easy. Micah Parsons had the most disruptive game you're ever going to see with only 1 sack. He was wrecking everything. He was the best player on the field. Overreaction. I know what you want to do. I know a lot of people want to do it. I know. And I'm happy if you disagree. Overreaction. Tom Brady was a plastic-faced train wreck in his broadcasting debut. I think it's an overreaction. Oh, it was awkward. Here's the intro.
We say welcome to the broadcast booth. He's Tom Brady, and I'm Kevin Burkhardt, and you're a broadcaster. How about that?
We're here. It's been quite a journey, but I love being your partner.
I'm excited as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. We should start with quarterbacks. That seems to make a lot of sense. Yeah. Cowboys making news. They come to an agreement with Dak Prescott on a big new contract, right? But with that comes pressure. Not only long-term, but what kind of pressure is he facing then and today in this game?
Yeah, Dak signed the largest contract in the history of the NFL. Now he's got to go out there and earn it. And 2023 was his best season. He's coming off of that. But going forward, it's going to be what happens in the postseason, how he's going to do that.
We say.
Okay. The popular thing to do, and I'm not over the face yet, and I've got some problems with how it went. I think it's in the end going to be a mistake for Fox. But I'm going to say this. The overreaction is he was awful. He was a train wreck. I don't think that's true. The reality, no, I think he was meh. It was meh. And meh is better than I thought it was going to be. Meh is, I was expecting him to squeal. You know, when he gets excited, his voice squeals. I was meh. I'm not even sure that's a bad start. Meh. So, of course, it's popular to rip him today. Everybody wants to do that. That's fine. I don't think that plastic face of his is helping any. They call him TB on the broadcast, and that was really cheesy. I felt like everyone was trying to be really too cool. Hey, TB, shut up with that. He was awkward, but mostly my opinion. This is just like arguing artwork. I thought he was mostly okay. Moving Greg Olsen, who he took his place, who's not been shy about saying, I think this sucks, and I think he's right. Moving Greg Olsen for him was dumb, in my opinion. But Fox, man, did they parlay Tom Brady being in the booth with all the ads? I mean, you know, I joked a few weeks ago on the podcast saying that Tom Brady is to the NFL and Fox what Snoop Dogg was to the Paris Olympics. There's not a minute and a half that goes by without Tom Brady somewhere. That's what Fox has done. I mean, they're going to try to get their money out of this deal with Tom Brady, and I think he's going to try the same thing. I think he really tries hard. I thought he would get really excited like he does sometimes and do that squealing thing. His voice gets higher. A couple of criticisms. Like I said, it doesn't meet what I think is the standard. That is interesting, compelling, and entertaining. He just wasn't that entertaining. He's meh. It's a hard thing to pull off. It is. But I thought, I hate how he calls, and other people do this, and I've never liked this. I hate how he calls coaches coach. Did you pick up on that? Maybe that's just my own thing. So he calls coaches coach, like Coach McCarthy said, Coach Zimmer said, instead of saying the full name. Like Mike Zimmer said. It's like to Tom Brady's world, and some people talk this way, you're not doctors. You didn't earn any sort of coach moniker. You have a name. I think that's weird. He's not the only one that does it, but I've noticed it with him. He did eventually, I picked up on this, he did eventually go get off my lawn guy, which I think is going to ultimately be his best space, his best ranting space, his best interesting space. And did anyone notice this? He goes get off my lawn. He goes get off my lawn late in the game. You know, I would have preferred, I thought he took the safe route. He didn't rip Deshaun Watson as much as he should have. I think he should have talked about the contract disparities more often. Should have talked about the booing more often. I mean, I think Deshaun Watson, after you get past the fact that they're getting their ass kicked by the Cowboys, I think Deshaun Watson's contract is a big story because he was booed like crazy for good reason. But Brady, he went get off my lawn. He went get off my lawn when he was talking about coaches cussing at players. And that got him excited. At one point he said, I like it when they cussed at me. The weirdest part of the Brady debut, I don't know if you noticed this. I think I tweeted about this. The part, and I think they did it more than once. Brady's in an ad, okay? They cut to an ad. They keep the screen split, and it's so cheesy and awkward. They show Brady watching his commercial. And he's just awkwardly standing there you can't figure out if he should smile or laugh or, what he should do. So they split the screen so you could then watch the ad of Brady. I don't know what it was. Some chips of some kind. And then he's watching his ad about some chips. And then they keep the camera on him for some of his reactions. I thought it was ridiculously awkward and a really goofy thing to do. Like, what is he supposed to do? Laugh at himself or laugh at the chips? Overreaction. Notre Dame, according to Jeff Ward, is going to be in the 12-team college football playoff. Reality. 1 week later, I doubt it. They just lost to effing Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois in South Bend. The Northern Illinois play-by-play end of the game. Okay. There's a lot of funny stuff coming out of this game. So Notre Dame is trying a 60-something yard field goal, of which the ball barely gets airborne. I think it hits some guy in the knees. So at the end of the game, here comes Notre Dame to try to win, to try to tie. I think it would have been a tie. I think they were trying to tie it at the end of the game. No time left. Here goes Northern Illinois. Can't believe what's happened.
He's lining it up. 5 seconds left. NIU up 16-14. 62-yarder. Snap, hold, Jeter's kick. It's blocked! It's blocked! It's blocked! Picked up by NIU! Picked up by NIU! The Huskies have done it! The Huskies with the biggest upset in NIU history! They come to South Bend, Indiana, and they knock off the number 5 team in the country!
Yeah, they did. So to put that in perspective, look, this is a week after Notre Dame rolls A&M at Kyle Field. Okay, so I guess in some weird way they could still get in. I don't even want to play with that anymore. I mean, look, you lose to Northern Illinois at home. I'm going to stop talking about you. So we're going to forget about you until you make us start talking about you again. They were 16-1 to win the national championship after they beat A&M. They're now 75-1. Listen to this, gamblers. It was a 28.5 line in favor of Notre Dame at home, which made perfect sense. It's the largest point spread upset since 2021. Reality. You're going to get in Austin number 1 Georgia v. number 2 Texas in late October. Reality. Now I want you to follow this because it could get really, really weird. There's nothing in front of Texas before Oklahoma, although UTSA is pretty good. I mean, I feel terrible that they're not in the Big 12. But there's not a whole lot in front of Texas until they get to Oklahoma, and that's an Oklahoma team that struggled with Houston. You can't lose that game if you're Texas. You can't. But let's assume they take care of business. Let's assume they roll the rest of the way. They beat Oklahoma. So the big picture question is going to be, will they play each other twice? Georgia and Texas. I think it'll be the biggest game in Austin in Austin in my lifetime. It's one versus 2. I don't remember another 1 versus 2. I've played in 1 versus 2 before, but it's elsewhere. So the big picture is they could play each other twice. Not only that, okay? I know this is going to sound weird, but I think as the season goes on, people are going to start noticing this. It's possible they could play each other 3 times. Regular season, a championship game, then in the college football playoff could even be the final. The risk is, here's the risk, and this is a real issue. And hopefully, I hate to say I hope it happens to Texas or Georgia, but I kind of do because we have to end these stupid these conference championship games. There's no upside to the college championship games. They are stupid. They're only there to do 6 commercials and to make the networks happy because some frat guys sit around and watch them. They're a waste. They're unfair. There's no real point to them. And it's going to blow someone up again. There's a risk it could be Texas. There's a risk it could be Georgia, but more so a risk to Texas. Those things need to stop. But it is possible they could play each other 3 times this year. A reality. That new kickoff thing, I don't know if you're sitting around watching the new NFL kickoffs. I don't know if you find it interesting, but I bet you've already figured out that the NFL kickoff setup has done very, very little to encourage returns. I mean, I knew this during preseason. I'm watching a game and I'm thinking, you know what? Is it really worth the risk to leave it in the field of play to the kickoff team? 2, is it really worth the risk of injury to leave it in the field of play for 5 yards? Just 5 yards? Why not just blast it to the end zone? That's what teams have been doing. There was a 96, I believe it was a 96-yard kickoff return, the Cardinals against the Bills. But for the most part, people are just blasting it through the end zone and saying, fine, start at the 30. Until the NFL, and they may do it because they will pivot. They'll make a change if it's more entertaining. Until the NFL, if you really want to encourage returns, you'd spot the ball to 35 or 40, probably the 40. Then teams would then leave it in the field of play. Overreaction. There's a lot to say about this. Dak Prescott is worth the largest guaranteed contract in NFL history. Cristiano Ronaldo might have a bigger guaranteed deal. Lionel Messi's in some way is because he gets a part of Apple. But it might be the largest guaranteed contract in sports history. Was it worth it? The answer is short term, probably, possibly. The answer long term is doubtful. The market says yes, pay him. But the data, as I've mentioned to you now a few times, the data on payouts versus wins says it's a bad investment. The data just doesn't back it up. There's a lot to this deal. What it says for the Cowboys, because they'll soon have, I want you to think about this. They're going to have 5 players. They're going to have, Dak Prescott is now the highest paid player in the game, highest paid player ever. They're going to have that. They already have the 3rd highest paid receiver in the game. I believe they have the 2nd highest paid guard, Zach Martin, in the game today. Micah Parsons is soon going to be the highest paid defensive player of all time. You can't let him go. And I'm going to add this. Brandon Aubrey, their field goal kicker, is very soon. I don't know how quickly they need to do this, but they're not going to let that. They can't let that guy walk. He will be the highest paid place kicker in NFL history as well. So there you got 5 players, all of whom are at the very, very top of the market, historical numbers. That's what they face. Now, if you want to start saying you're going to let Micah Parsons or Brandon Aubrey go, then you're going to suck in 2 years. Are they any good with all 5? Yeah, but there's not a whole lot else. I can't imagine how they're going to put in the other parts. Dak Prescott was good against Cleveland. He is good. I've been saying it for a couple years now. And it might make Jerry Jones feel better now, but the deal will be judged in January. Jerry Jones will have to judge it in January. The feelings right now, I think, are short term. So I thought he was going to walk. I did. I thought he was going to bet on himself, but I think he answered the question I've been asking for about a year and a half, and that is I think the guy wants his money, and he wants his consistency. He likes his commute. He likes where he gets his coffee. The guy's just a corporate man. He's rich. The 5 highest paid quarterbacks, here's the reality. The 5 highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL have a combined playoff wins of 9. That's because Joe Burrow has 5 of them. There are 0 Super Bowl titles among the top 5. Dak Prescott is 2-5. Trevor Lawrence is 1-1. Jordan Love, who's now hurt, is 1-1. Justin Herbert is 5-2. No, Justin Herbert of the Chargers is 0-1. Joe Burrow is 5-2. The top 5 is Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, and then Tua Tagovailoa. Those are your top 5. There's not a whole lot of playoff wins, especially if you take Joe Burrow out. The data just doesn't back it up. The fear factor is what's in play, and that is, well, if I don't have that guy, and even if I talk myself into that guy, the quarterback, being better than he really is, if we don't do it, we'll be the Chicago Bears for 10 years, and we'll suck. So they better win. Dallas better win now. Better win now. Better win now while you have all these pieces. You have a really, really good defense. You have a great off-the-charts, best in the game today kicker. You're going to be in games. Win now, because in 2 years, who knows what that roster looks like.